and going from needing a food bank to driving a brand new car. Okay? Listen, take what you need from the learning and go for it. Stop stopping yourself. Beat your own self in the ass to do it. Your body only knows to do it. So stop wondering and questioning and limiting your own self. Take all the learning and apply it. Immediate action. Immediate. We're all action takers here. You all came in here to take action today. So make sure you take action with all the learning that's provided for you too, because that's what I did. No matter what my state of health is, I took all the learning from Michael, from all the speakers, and I applied it in my life. Okay. And I went from total destruction to literally programs successful enough that I purchased myself a car. Okay. In 1 year, 1 year, the food bank couldn't get help last year. Well, I applied the learning. And no matter what I was living, I was still able to. So, guys, you all can do it too. Every excuse you make for yourself, that's you stopping you. So, you have everything and all that you need because you're breathing. So, stop limiting yourself. And I had to add that.
That was a fantastic setup for what I'm about to talk about, because our next speaker is actually me. So thank you for leading that in. I was looking at my notes, what I was going to talk about. I was like, that's my first note. Not ready stapler polishing. That's what the sheet says. So that is perfect, because yeah, what I entitled what I'm going to talk about today is bullshit mastery, because that is the name of the program I am offering starting next week. I'm going to be rebranding it because apparently a lot of people in my audience are squeamish and they're like, oh, he said a bad word. So I'm going to rename it to something more appealing, like metanoia, which is the Greek word for transforming your mind. But you guys know the real name is bullshit mastery, because most of us are held back by some kind of bullshit. And I don't just mean the people out there scamming us, like that publishing company that someone got ripped off by, and all these coaches who are overcharging and under delivering and all that. I mean much closer to home. The most dangerous bullshit you encounter is coming from inside the house. The call is coming from inside the house. That's where it is. And so the concept of the program I'm creating is not just teaching these concepts, because you've heard them all. You could probably write the curriculum for any mastermind, any mindset program. If you sat there, if I was like, I'll give you $10,000 if you could write a curriculum for a 12-week master, mindset program, you'd be like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's do it. You could think of definitely 12 topics. You could totally create slides and do it. And it wouldn't have any more impact than any of the others, because you know it, but you don't use it, because you hear them as concepts. And a lot of what happens is you learn these things and then you say, well, yeah, but, and often because they are very prescriptive, they're very simplified because they're made into YouTube shorts. They're short enough to fit into a reel and not really picked apart. And that's what I'm going to be doing starting next week, is going into these concepts and actually saying, let's get into them seminar style. I'm not going to tell you, because, I'm not particularly wiser than anyone else. I've learned a few things. I've been deeply immersed in the coaching world, but most of you have too. Most entrepreneurs have too. The issue is you hear something and you say, I don't quite see how that works all the time. I don't see how that works for me. I know I should get started, but I don't see how I get started, because I really do need that certification, right? I can't be coaching that certification. So how can I get started? For me, I understand other people should get started, but for me, I don't see how that works. And, around language and whatnot. But so I want to start with that getting ready concept. So does anyone have a stapler near them? Do you have a stapler? If you don't, that's okay. But if you do, great visual aid. So you have a stapler. So I am hoping your stapler is a little bit dirty, a little grungy, because I'm hoping you don't spend much time cleaning it. When I first worked for a publishing company that published a community magazine, they had a term called polishing the stapler. Now, when I explain what polishing the stapler is, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. People would join, it was basically a sales organization, right? You had to find leads, you had to call them, follow the script, go on the appointment, give the presentation, ask for the close, business grows. Well, people would say, well, what CRM should I use? I want to make sure I use the CRM so I'm not losing leads, right? I got to do that. Well, I need to practice the script. I can't just start calling people because I haven't memorized the phone script yet. And I don't want to get someone on the phone and screw it up. I need to practice that script and get that, get that perfect. And I need to research that CRM definitely because, I need the right one. The data is going to be in it. I don't want to have to go back and do it again. And I need to make sure I know exactly my market. In fact, I'm going to drive around my market a bit. I want to get to know every corner and every, actually maybe I should go meet some of the people in the community and find out, who are the community leaders. Go visit all the churches. People would do everything except pick up the damn phone and call the damn leads. The most successful people, you know what CRM they use? A yellow legal pad and a pen. All right, the people who are using Salesforce and using the systems and technology and whatnot, they're the ones who failed. Why? Because they didn't pick up the damn phone and call the damn leads. I imagine probably most of you are not in direct cold call sales, but perhaps you polish the stapler in some other way. All right, we were talking earlier about people doing videos. Do you know what you need to do a video that gets 3.1 million views on TikTok? I've done it. I got 3.1 million views on TikTok on one video, 500,000 on another, 175,000 on another. And with each one of those, you know what I did? You know what the preparation was? I took my phone, I opened the TikTok app, I hit record, I started talking, and then I hit record, hit stop, and I uploaded it. Occasionally I might flub something, so I hit stop, and then I hit record again to continue. Sometimes I get fancy. I use the green screen, and I'll go find an image, and I'll put that image behind me. And I don't think, one of the green screen ones did, with the 3.1 million views. I took a photo. That photo was my background. I did not have special lights. I did not have special backgrounds. One was shot in my kitchen, which I did not clean. If you don't angle the phone down, nobody can see the kitchen surface. Just angle it a little bit up. I just started. So you are very often ready with what you have right now. You can improve it later. Now, I'm partnering with Brandy, and I'm talking about how, you need to let someone handle your tech and don't mess with it yourself. But maybe you're not at the point where you can hire someone to take care of your tech for you. So just don't start your business, right? You can't afford it. No. Just go learn all the tech. No. What tech do you know? What do you already know how to do? And what can you learn from ChatGPT? Right? What can you quickly learn how to do? My tech stack is an email system you've never heard of called Moosend, Event Raptor, Thrivecart. I have Go High Level. I don't use it for much because I don't know how to use it right, and it is very high level and very complex, so I don't mess with it. So I have this little daisy chain of Thrivecart, Event Raptor, Moosend, and it gets the job done. I can't send SMS, which is why you don't get text reminders for these summits. Would it be better if I did? Totally. Is it worth the time, energy, and resources it would take to learn how to do it? No. So I don't do it. I just get it done with what I've got. And that's the key thing, because we are shown all these images of $1 million companies. We're shown an entrepreneur, the ones you see, they're getting venture funded. They're getting money from people who say, spend this money as quickly as possible. Why is it still in your bank account? And so they've got all the tech, they got all the team, they don't worry about hiring the wrong tech person. They just hire two. One of them will probably work. They're trying to burn this money so they can get to their A round, their B round, their C round. That's not how any of us are running our business. We're bootstrap businesses. And if you're running your own business, then it's going to be a little bit scrappy, but it's about saying, what do I need to do? And now what do I have to do it? And now let's get it done. Not what do I need? How can I? How can I get it done? Get started. Toby, when she first spoke on my stage, she had never spoken before. She had no website. She had no email list. I think she still doesn't have an email list, but no website, no email list. I'm not sure if she had a program. I think she had something. Because Andy met her before I did, so she must have had something going on. But basically, I had no infrastructure. And my policy with summits is I'll let anyone speak once, because the worst they'll do is share a little bit and not be great. I've had 3 speakers ever who I say I regret putting that person on my stage. But other than that, I'm like, sure, I'll put you on the stage. Let's see what happens. If you can't promote, you don't come back. If you don't speak well, you don't come back. The requirement to speak on my stage is 10 registrations. Toby got 38 her first time out, no email list, no major audience. She just decided to get 38, or decided to exceed the expectations and got it. And that's what happens when you decide to do it. Meanwhile, I see people with all kinds of technology tools, lists, teams, whatever, and they end up not performing anywhere near like that because they haven't decided to succeed. They just got a bunch of stuff. They got a bunch of infrastructure. Another thing that we talk about in the mindset space that people get mixed up on is language. So you may have heard of the bad words. I don't mean bad words like bullshit. That's fine. Say that all you want. I mean words like can't, never, always, but, things like that. Who's ever heard, you shouldn't be saying those kinds of words? Ever heard that? All right. Who's ever had trouble with that? That you're like, but I need to say, like, I never walk on the sun. I never have been shot. I never, I never drink poison. And so we trip over that, and then we say, well, I shouldn't say but. And now you're shoulding. Anyone ever heard the expression, don't should all over yourself? So now, where you're trying to learn, I'm trying to not use these bad words. And I shouldn't say this. I've heard people say this. I shouldn't say but, and I know I just did. Now they're feeling bad. And now you're feeling guilty. Now you feel worse about yourself. Now you're like, well, I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to get clients. I can't even not say but. Oh my God. I'm twice the imposter I thought I was. So let me talk a little bit about those words. You can use whatever words you want. You shouldn't use words that hurt people. You shouldn't use words that hurt yourself. That's the main rule about words. You should also use the words you mean. And this is what it all comes down to. You can say but, always, never, can't, any of those words, but understand what they mean. If you say, I never get clients from cold calling, well, if you ever once got a client from cold calling, don't say that. Say, I almost never, or I rarely, right? Don't say never if it's not never. But, I never had sex with a camel. That is true. Never, not once, not even one time have I done that. Always, the other one, this always works. This, when I run a summit, it's always successful. Always? Every single time without exception? Well, not always. So there's some things that are always and some things are never. Most are not. Usually you're exaggerating. Don't exaggerate. Use the word you mean. Can't and but are 2 of the ones that the lazy way is to say, don't say can't, don't say but. Never say can't. Never say never. I always like that one. Well, didn't you just say it? Can't sometimes means can't. I can't run 200 miles without rest. Arguably, I can't run 20 miles, but I don't know if there's a bear chasing me, maybe I'd discover different. But, I can't, well, I don't think I'll ever be able to run 200 miles without stopping. I think no matter what I do, there's no yet on that. Like, I just can't. I can't run 200 miles. It's not going to happen, period. But I can't run 20 miles yet. So, Christina, to that point, you're right. I can't run 20 miles yet. And ever, because I'm not going to do what it takes. And that's what can't actually usually means. Sometimes can't means can't. Right? I can't jump to the sun. But I can't run 20 miles actually means I am unwilling to expend the resources that it would require to do this. Can you help me move? No, I can't. I can. I am unwilling to expend the resources it requires to help you move. Now, sometimes you'll say can't because the social conventions around you require it. And if you say, I can, but I don't want to, they'll be like, well, fuck you. Never talk to me again. You're an asshole. So you just say, I can't. Sorry, I can't. Right? Hey, you want to go out tonight? I can't. That will be like, oh, totally, I get that. Well, I can, but I don't want to. All right, I thought we were friends, but I guess we're not. But in your head, you need to know that when you're saying can't, you mean I don't want to. And I don't want to really means the cost outweighs the benefit. I'm unwilling to expend the resources necessary for this. Because most things that you can't do, you can do. At least it just did. It just ran 20 miles. I don't want to run 20 miles. I'm not sure I actually want to do the thing. I definitely don't want to do what it would take to do the thing. So I don't wanna. And that's okay. Because here's the shift in mindset. To say I can't run 20 miles is disempowering. There's a thing in the world I can't do. I want to do it. I want to run 20 miles. I can't do it. Well, out of all the things I could do, that's one less. I can't lose 20 pounds. I can't sell a client cold calling. And now my power is limited. I choose not to run 20 miles. I choose not to lose 20 pounds. Should I lose 20 pounds according to many medical professionals? Probably. Am I going to? No, because I don't want to. I mean, if I could do it magically, I would. But I don't want to. I don't want to do what it would take to do it. So it's not that I can't. I choose not to. And let's talk about but. So who has heard that you should not use the word but? But's a bad word. Anyone? Now, as a quick rule of thumb, most times you can replace but with and it just makes a more positive sentence. So that's the lazy way to put it. Now let me explain how but actually works. But nullifies whatever you said before it. You guys are a great audience, but now we need to leave. Okay, you guys aren't really a great audience. We're just done. Get out, right? However, we need to leave, but you guys were a great audience. It doesn't fully nullify the fact of leaving, but that impact of, how many times has anyone ever heard a compliment in the wrong order? You are such a hard worker, but I'm concerned about this thing. Okay, so what you mean is, I'm not a hard worker, and you're concerned about this thing. Got it. Whatever came before the but was cushioning. It was flattery. It was buttering you up before the but. However, use but the right way, it can actually be very powerful. Yeah, I love you, but you piss me off. Versus, you piss me off, but I love you. Very different energy in that. So they're both still true. You do still piss me off. I do still love you, but you're emphasizing the one that comes after the but. So this is why this is powerful. I know I should be grateful, but today's just been awful. You nullified the gratitude. Today's just been awful, but I know I should be grateful. But's great there. You should absolutely use but. There's no and. There's no I know I should be grateful and today's been terrible. You don't want an and. You want today's been terrible, but diminish and nullify that. I should be grateful. And when you use that but that way, that's actually makes it more powerful. So this is what I'm going to be doing in my soon to be renamed Bullshit Mastery class. Because again, people are squeamish. Honestly, I was on the fence about if I should call it that or something else. I'm like, you know what? It gets attention when I say Bullshit Mastery. People laugh. It's awesome. And then I sent it to my email list, and I got less clicks on that than like anything I've ever put in the main text. I got six clicks out of 3,400 people. The next day I promoted something else and got 35 clicks. So I'm like, all right, new name, but you guys still get the original name. It's starting next week, and it's a 6-week or 12-week program. Each week is deep diving into one of those topics and others. So it's basically how much of it do you want? And there's a link in the chat if you are interested in joining that program. If you're not interested, don't click on the chat. It costs money. Not too much, but not none. So, but what's going to be unique about it is that it will be going into these things. So if I teach you a concept and you're like, yeah, but's a pretty useful part of speech, I don't think I can not use that. Then I want you to say that, and let's get into that and say, well, how does it work well? How does it work poorly? When does it work? You know, because things like just start calling could be good advice, but it could also be paralyzing for some people to not have any sort of lead tracking. And there are definitely people who failed out of that company because they couldn't handle that dichotomy of, I don't have a lead tracking system and I need to get started. And they just sat in between. I know I shouldn't be researching a CRM, but I also know I shouldn't be calling without a CRM, but I know I shouldn't be researching one, but I know I shouldn't be calling, and did not have that space. So that's why I'm creating this space to really explore these and discover, where does the truth land? You know, I was talking about my daughter earlier, how sometimes she says she needs to decompress when she comes home from school. And I'm like, no, you're being raised by a coach and your mother is super stressed out and trying to do self-care for herself. You don't need to decompress. You're just learning too much on the self-care side. Now we need to balance that with the other side to keep down the center. So if that is valuable to you, and well, let's put it this way, if that's worth more than $300 to you, click on the link, join the program. If it's not worth more than $300 to you, don't click on the link, because the cost will exceed the benefit. So that's what I have for you. And with that, I hand the mic back to